Hello everyone, back to today's first video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week, 10 days in today's first video. This is going to take us to around the 21st of May, so we're into the second half of the month with this update. Going to be more change. We've been talking about this in videos recently. Going to be into a more changeable period, but I wouldn't be expecting an especially prolonged, protracted spell of wet weather. There will be showery rain around at times, but I don't think it's going to be enough really to break the rainfall deficit that we've seen over the past weeks and months. Later on today, we're going to have our first storm watch of the summer season, so that'll be coming up with you later on this afternoon. I think it could be some thundery showers down in the south later today and overnight tonight. Talking of that, actually, we're starting off with a radar picture from the weather outlook. You can see things are beginning to develop down in the southwest. There's some showers down there, and also along the south coast towards the Brighton area, some showers there too. At the moment, they look mostly light. We'll have a look at the lightning detector. If there's any lightning flashes flashing away, and I don't think there is, so no lightning just yet, but there could be lightning and thunder coming up this afternoon across some southern counties with both showers, and we'll have a look at the potential for thunderstorms with Stormwatch later today. These are the 500mm high anomaly flow charts for the next week to 10 days. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, the GFS, have a look at it in a moment. It's on the bottom, 500mm, 80,000 feet is an area in the absolute high pressure, and low pressure are being moved around by a jet stream running above. Let's extrapolate low pressure, rate to high pressure. This takes us to around the 21st of May. We find that we've got a trough of low pressure, albeit quite shallow, with the ECMWF. Over top of the UK in the next week to 10 days. There's a ridge through the Atlantic extending up like that. The jet stream is going a bit like that, so we are placed on the cold side of the jet stream there, on the cool side excuse me, of the jet stream, and we're under an area of low pressure, so it looks more changeable. That most definitely. Now, as I say, I wouldn't necessarily be expecting a protracted spell of very wet weather, but it does look more showery. There will be some showery bursts certainly coming through with that. The GFS is very similar. The trough is deeper and it's up towards the northeast with the ridge out to the west and southwest of us, and it means that the jet stream is aligned rather like that on a northwest-southeast trajectory. It's very similar, but it's probably a little bit more settled because that trough is centred more towards Scandinavia than over top of the UK, so it's probably less showery, less rain coming through with that. Both models suggest fairly coolish temperatures, I think, into the second half of the month with the jet stream and the flow running northwest to southeast. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles next 2 weeks. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. A little bit above average at the moment. It's quite warm and humid today. Going to be around average through to the end of the week into the start of the weekend. And then next week, we're going to push up in the temperatures. We are going to get a warm spell early next week. Temperatures might get up to around 25 degrees in the southeast on Tuesday. That's 77 Fahrenheit. But quite quickly, that is dropping away into a cooler spell of weather by the look of it. However, there is a lot of scatter in there for the second half of the chart. So this is the second half of the month, and quite a bit of scatter between those ensemble members. So clearly there is potential for some warmer conditions in the second half of the week, in the second half of the month, I should say. But equally, there is a potential for the weather to be quite cool. I think the model is trending more onto the cooler side of things. In terms of precipitation, well, just regular showery intervals, really, right from beginning to end. That's today just there. That's going towards the end of the month over there. And you see there are precipitation spikes coming through at fairly reasonably regular intervals. Nothing outstandingly wet, just showery bursts. It looks like there's a wetter spell coming through just here. That's associated with this drop in temperature. So from that warm spell that we get at the start of next week to the cooler, fresher end to the week, around Wednesday, there's the potential, by the look of it anyway, there's potential for some thunderstorms, and that's associated with these bigger rainfall spikes just here. But overall, it does look showery over the next couple of weeks, but nothing definitively wet. No very wet spell of weather, probably. However, with showery conditions, of course, remember, they are hit and miss, so some places like to say dry. Some places, if they're thundery showers, such as we've got today, could get quite a bit of rain. This is a temperature anomaly for the next week. Now, this has gone warmer than average. We started the week looking at these, and it's showing pretty much colder than average conditions across the whole of Europe. Now, those cold and average conditions are being pushed back into Scandinavia and western parts of Russia. So, still colder than average there for the next week, from the 11th to 19th of May. But for many central western parts of Europe, British Isles included, and Ireland, it is looking milder than average in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies look like that. Wetter than average for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Drier than average for southern and southeastern parts of England. Again, that's taking us from a week from the 11th to the 19th of May. So it does look more changeable, especially so for the north and west. Less so for the south and the east. Here's how the GFS is looking for Monday then. High pressure building up from the Azores into France, bringing up this southerly southwesterly flow. This low pressure just here is probably bringing rain to west of Scotland and into Northern Ireland. Notice the winds are pushing up from a southerly southwesterly direction, so it does look warmer. Into Tuesday, again, we're pulling up those southerly winds, so it looks generally quite warm. I think that might be the warmest day of next week. Tuesday afternoon could see temperatures going up to 25 degrees in the southeast. That ridge is still there on Wednesday, actually. So Wednesday, if the ridge is holding on, might be a little bit warmer. But by Thursday, we're bringing a cold front down across the country. That's introducing a cooler, fresher air mass from the northwest. As I say, that's coming into quite warm air and humid air, so it might produce some thundery conditions. We'll have to wait and see how active that cold front is, and we won't know, of course, for a few days because it's a week away. But the potential maybe something a bit thundery around the middle of next week and into the second half of next week. This takes us to Friday, 19th of May, where we've got high pressure out to the west of us, low pressures in over Scandinavia. We saw it on the high to anomaly flow chart. The wind's coming from a northwesterly direction, so it looks quite cool, and maybe some showers, especially in the north. But of course, overall, up to day 10, which is Sunday 21st of May, we're still keeping this ridge just out to our west. So although, yes, it might be a little bit more showery, there might be some showers coming through, and it is cooler with the wind coming around that ridge from a northwesterly direction, in that sort of direction. Overall, not a great deal of rain, you have to say. A fair amount of dry weather with that ridge out to the west. The east NDF looks like this. Again, we've got the ridge building to our south on Monday, bringing up this southwesterly flow with some rain in the north and west. Tuesday and Wednesday look pleasantly warm. Temperatures again could be into mid-20s Celsius in the south early next week. Then through to Thursday, we've brought a cold front down across the country sometime Wednesday to Thursday, which might introduce some thundery showers, and then a much cooler air mass coming in from the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. And then, as we saw on the height anomaly chart, the East NDF is more unsettled with this trough. It is a shallow trough, but we've got a trough sitting around the west of Europe then, running up towards day 10. That is day 10, Sunday 21st of May. Still more or less under that shallow trough. So, again, that could bring us a risk of showers in towards the end of next week and then into that weekend of the 20th, 21st May. Again, it's not a definitively wet period, but it could be showery through that final 8 to 10 day time frame. And of course, it is cooler compared to what we have coming up for the start of next week. So, showery, I think, is the word we're going to be using quite a lot over the next few days. We will get that warm, dry spell to the south early next week. Overall, it looks a fairly showery week to 10 days. Nothing outstandingly wet unless you happen to find yourself under a thunderstorm. And they'll be hit and miss. But overall, nothing outstandingly wet, just a showery period. Temperatures for a time early next week look very warm, and then turning cooler into the second half of next week. Cool and showery sums it up for that weekend of the 20th, 21st of May. Right, come back later on this afternoon. We'll have a look at Storm Watch. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.